Hey everyone! Today's video is going to be a quick one on how I highlight my hair at home. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my channel, I am a licensed hairstylist and I do tend to do my own hair at home. So this video is just to give you guys tips and tricks. So you can see that I went from a super grown out blonde to a highlighted blonde. It isn't easy to do your own hair at home, so I do give fair warning to only attempt this if you are confident. Because it is hard to highlight your own hair at home, I did do this in two separate processes. The second time I just went in where it was still a bit dark for me, so keep in mind that you may have to do the same. Products I used are foil, a highlighting comb, a bowl and brush, clips, lightener and developer. I recommend using a 20 volume if you are doing your own hair, and Rejuvenate oil to protect my hair. I really wanted to focus on the hair around my face to really brighten that up, so I started by sectioning off about an inch section right around my hairline. I also took the very top part that would be next to my part, sort of the bang area, and I clipped that away just so I could really make that a heavy highlight. I took the section that I had and split it in half just to make it thinner and easier to work with. The thinner the section, the better the lightener will apply, and you will more than likely get splotches or really harsh lines if you do too thick of sections. So keep in mind to make the sections nice and thin. I also like to keep the highlights on the fine weaved side around my face especially, just so it blends in nicely with my natural hair color as well as the existing highlights without being too chunky or harsh. It had been about 4.5 months since I last highlighted my hair, so it was a little bit easier for me to foil. If you have less grow out, I recommend being really careful not to overlap your existing blonde highlights. I also like to do this lock trick on the foil. As you can see, I just put my comb underneath and sort of push the foil against my scalp just to keep it in place and make sure it is nice and tight and will not fall out. I do the exact same thing to that second section, just taking a really thin section and doing a fine weave, and then placing the lightener right where I have the outgrowth, and then feathering down past the brassy bits, leaving my ends out, and then making sure to feather up by my scalp so there are no harsh lines. So you can see here that I just lock it into place and then fold it up again and do the exact same thing to the other side. And like I said before, I wanted to keep the hair around my face and part nice and bright, so I just clipped the section back and out of the way to make it easier, and then split that section in half as well. I did a fine weave for the most part, but right where my part was, I did do it a little bit on the medium weave side, just so it showed up a little bit better and had a nice pop of blonde right around my part. I did the exact same technique for both of those sections, and then it was time to move on to the rest of my hair. And as you can tell, I am clipping about a 1-inch section away, just like I did around my part line. If your part changes, make sure that you are going down far enough to wherever you change your part, it will be nice and highlighted. I keep my part about the same every time that I style or wash my hair, so I just do about a 1-inch section on each side. On the bottom highlights on the side sections, I do a medium weave just to really brighten that area up because I am only going so far down. And then right on the top part of my part, I do a finer weave just to blend in the highlights a little bit better. So I like to have a thicker weave underneath to really pop out the blonde highlights, and then a finer weave on top so it looks nice and blended. Something I like to do on clients in the salon as well as myself is make sure to go in vertically with the brush toward the scalp area to really blend in the highlights. You can go in horizontally to lay down your lightener, but you really want to make sure you are blending the highlights nicely, so I do recommend going in horizontally and then going in and blending vertically. I also did a couple sections in the back and let that process for about 35 minutes, and I did do that in two separate processes like I said, and here are the results of that. You can see it's nice and bright around my face and a blended highlight all over. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how I quickly highlight my hair at home. If you give it a try, let me know how it works out for you, and like I said, make sure that you are confident in what you are doing before attempting this at home. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I do hope you stick around and subscribe. I hope you all have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, everybody.